One of Bruce Lee's favorite techniques was the BUG, or the finger jab. That's not B-U-G, BUG, means finger jab. And one of the reasons is because it's so direct, meaning that it moves on a straight line towards the target. And the fact that it moves directly towards the eyes makes it a lot harder for the opponent, when done right, to be able to parry or move out of the way. It also is very devastating, of course, because if you've ever been poked in the eye by accident, it can really bring everything kind of to a halt. If you do this on purpose and you're really going to trying to cause damage, then this can end a fight right there for you. Bob Bremer used to say this puts them, your opponent, on the Braille system trying to find you. They have to feel you out to try to. And if you so choose, you can just leave the fight then and run away, or you can continue to just make sure that they can't come after you anymore. So this is street fighting. This is Jeet Kune. This is not sparring. So yes, it's devastating, it's gruesome, and that's what it's supposed to be. This is life and death. To do this properly, though, again, you have to practice this in such a way that it makes it hard for your opponent to see it, and so that you don't damage your own hand. I've heard people say, "Oh, I'd never do that. I tried it in a fight, and I broke my fingers on the guy's forehead." And they were showing me their two fingers, the Three Stooges style. The way Bruce Lee did it is he trained his fingers to be very strong, first of all, but you want to flex your hand in such a way that you're tucking your thumb in, because if your thumb's out this way and the person moves, it's very likely you're going to break your thumb in a bad manner, in a really bad way. And you want to flex your fingers so the tips are slightly down, and that way when you hit, the idea is to come in and down right into the base of the eye socket. Other ways I've seen this, and Bruce Lee also taught this, was to make this into one single weapon and thrust. Okay, both of them can be used, but it might be a slightly different charge coming from the hip, where one is more of a downward hammer principle, and the other can be done more like a straight lead, where it's driving or thrusting like a fencer. I'm going to use the push-up footwork to enter. So I'm going to use the rear foot to create the movement, and the lead leg just lifts and steps forward as I explode. So when I practice on a partner, I hit the forehead because we want to be able to make sure that I can get the depth, but without actually hitting the eyes. Sometimes the advanced guys will put on goggles and they'll actually move and see if they can hit each other. What I want to do now, though, is just make sure that he's fairly safe. I'm using my palm. That way, you know what happens many times, you'll hit with the fingers and then they scrape downwards and they hit the guy in the eyes. So what I'm going to do is have my hands up, use that footwork, and I'm popping the forehead. By keeping the elbow in on center line, it's making sure that it's harder for him to see. Just like in our videos, when we talk about the straight lead and all these other punches, it makes it very hard, it makes it very easy for the guy to see the moment I wing my elbow up at the beginning of a punch. Same thing here. If I go to poke him in the eyes and that elbow pops up, then he's going to move off the line right away. So I want to have this on center, and I want to let my body do the work. Just as this hand drops, the rear leg is going to push, explode off the ground, and the body moves into it. And a lot of the power comes from the body movement. Now, once I've got the actual technique down, so I'm saying, okay, I know he's just standing there letting me hit him. I'm moving forward and hitting him on the forehead nice and lightly. Boom. And I'm keeping the elbow in, keeping the other hand up. Okay. Then I want to see, well, how good am I at actually doing this without him seeing me do it? So we start this drill that Bruce Lee had his school do in the Chinatown days, where he's going to start with his hands fairly wide apart, and he's just basically going to try to catch my hand. If he can touch my hand before I can touch him, I don't care if he touches it on the way back, right? But if he can touch my hand before I touch him, it means that I showed him a little too much. I gave a little bit too much of a telegraph. So we'll start with his hands wide so that I can have some sort of success, and then if he can't get me at all, then we'll bring his hands in a little closer. Okay? So I'll start out here. Now I'm giving myself a pretty good distance. For the beginners, a lot of times we just take, maybe step back with your right, then your left. That might be a little too far, but you should not be able to touch them. Okay, you should have to move. So I'm going to use the rear leg, and I want to drop this hand. And I want to just reach out there and touch him on the head. Now, if he can touch me before I get there, then I'm showing something, or I'm too far away from my skill level. Like if I'm way back here and his arms are way back here and he's still touching me before I get there, then I need to move a little closer. So I'm here and I'm touching him. So now he's going to bring his hands a little closer, make it a little harder for me. And so I really have to watch the technique. One of the things that I do, I want to make this more like a real fight. I'll start moving the body a little bit, just the way you would in a fight. Because now again, I don't want my arm over here and over here, and because then pretty soon he's going to see this. It's not going to be a nice, straight, clean movement. But you move that so that your move can blend in. The finger jab can blend into the other moves. But the move itself should still either start from up here, where you're just looking over the fist and strike, or it should start on a downstroke and thrust upwards. There's two different ways that Bruce Lee taught that. Okay, so I'm still touching him, so we'll bring the hands in a little closer. Now the good thing is, if I'm even getting this half the time, I should feel pretty good because he knows what I'm doing. See, this is a partner that says, I'm saying, I'm going to try to hit you right there and you try to stop me. If this is in a fight, he doesn't know where you're going to go. So this drill is really good at honing that skill, at getting rid of the preparation, as Bruce Lee called it. So we're a little closer, and I'm going to try to make it a little harder for myself, get a little farther away, moving. You stopped it just that time. And I got it that time. So moving. Now, if you notice, the hand is relaxed. The bicep is relaxed as I'm using the body to throw it out, and then there's a snap on the end. Okay? If you start out rigid, you're never going to get it there before they're able to cover. So I'm nice and relaxed. And that push-up can be small. It's just enough so that you can get this on a full extension. This is it's a speed. The arm is the speed move, and then the legs get you there. So we work on this in a lot of the videos, getting your legs ready, moving on, moving in, getting all those punches prepared. But this one is one of my favorites. It's one of Bruce Lee's favorites because the BG is a fight ender.